Hey everyone, welcome back to Absolutely Marvel in DC. My name's Benny, that is Sal, and that is Dylan. And today we're going to be talking about the controversial, that one, episode 6 of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Apparently.
So, as I do with all of our reviews, I'll give a quick rundown. The episode immediately kicks off with our new Captain America flying in. He begins to battle against our villain. He takes off to battle against a helicopter. Winter Soldier and John Walker end up teaming up and not even mentioning the fact that they were literally at each other's throats that episode ago. Carly ends up doing some weird running away stuff and then dying, and the internet freaked out that there was no justice for Carly. We'll talk about that.
What?
We need justice for Carly now?
Yeah, apparently.
Justice for Dr. Doom.
Thanos was right.
That exists.
Oh boy.
And then we get the epic speech. I liked his speech at the ending, but we get the speech from Sam at the ending of the whole thing. Winter Soldier establishing, yes, you are Cap. And then, of course, the title change that I don't know about you guys, but when they went Captain America and Winter Soldier, I was like, yes!
Solid.
Very sweet.
Yeah. So, all right. Want to just kick it off? It's always starting these episodes that I always find awkward. Like, we don't know how to get into them. So, how did you feel about it, Sal?
I liked it. I had a good time. I mean, I enjoyed the series, and I was vindicated in my theory that you could pretty much just skip this whole show if you wanted to just watch the movies. If you were like, I'm just watching the movies. I don't watch shows. I don't watch 6-hour-long shows or movies. So forget it. And it's like literally.
This one is more egregious. Like, at least WandaVision, they'll have a question or two. This one you could legit just skip.
Yeah,
and you won't miss a beat.
Yeah, and I'm not advocating you do. I just think it's like funny that it was just here's the shield. It's yours. It feels like it's somebody else's. It isn't. Fair enough. I'm gonna get a rad new suit, and you'll see me in
awesome
Avengers
suit.
4 or 5. Bye. But ultimately, I mean, I just enjoyed it. I had a good time. I had no complaints. I had one slight nitpick, and it wasn't even really a nitpick. It was just kind of like the only place where I lost my suspension of disbelief, and that is including moments where like he's lifting a car and like the physics don't work, and I was like,
cares?
I was so outraged. I saw
when
a
he
tweet,
caught the armored truck with his jetpack, like, oh
yeah, and
your arms are still involved, man. That's not all jetpack.
I saw some jackass on Twitter who was going on and on about how he's not a super soldier, forward momentum, and then proceeded to post like physics charts, and I'm like, dude,
What?
my live action cartoons need to make sense, ladies and gentlemen, or I am gonna lose it.
You realize we're in a world where Thanos can snap half the people out of. I'll even bring it down. We're in a TV show where one guy's got a robotic metal arm that's indestructible, and another guy is flying with giant wings in a jetpack.
Space Hitler is purple.
Yeah, who cares about the physics of this stuff? It doesn't matter. He's a Falcon man who can lift a truck.
You know that the shield physics also don't hold up either. I didn't see you complaining about that online. What do you
do realize that a round shield isn't going to ricochet like a boomerang like this?
No, but it has been for the last 85 years. So I'm not going to start complaining now.
Exactly. But
so yeah,
I was going to say,
but I dug it. Loved it.
Yeah, to compound on what you were saying earlier, Sal. Well, I had something and now it's gone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So that's cool.
Well, let me bring up my nitpick, and then maybe that'll jog you, because like Sam has his first opportunity to give a rousing speech at the end of the show, and he does so, and in a kind of like, you need to do better kind of way, and I kind of dug it. The only thing that I found unbelievable about it was that his detractors / ideological opponents didn't talk over him at all.
Oh yeah, they were yelling.
They just let him talk. Like, they see that there's like cameras and phones and stuff, and they didn't go like, no, fake news, or like, spare me your propaganda leftist ideals, please, okay? Because you don't know how. I mean, like the worst we got was one guy going like, you have no idea how the world works, and he's like, no, I don't. But, like, you know what? It doesn't need to work so crappy. And it's like, that's fair. Can't argue with that. Like, yeah. Okay. But, yeah, and it wasn't really nitpick, but I was just, like, I was so taken out that they let him talk so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's something to be said about, like, Sam now fully being Captain America is like Captain America has always kind of been this presence who, when he gets into a room, he like commands a room. He gives speeches. Like when he's ready to do a full page spread of just Captain America talking. Yeah, God forbid you give Bendis Captain America. He'll talk for like 20,000 pages.
Oh, just on a weird tangent, but I read that latest Justice League, and I'm like, they're talking so much.
I mean, it's Bendis' Justice League. What do you want from him? That's what he does. That's what you pay him to do. You're not going to ask him to orchestrate a really complex action sequence.
They went from talking and floating in air to talking in the Hall of Justice to talking, like, we keep arriving after the fight so they can talk.
That's my Bendis. That's what I want to read. I do want to see people talking, which is why I enjoyed so much of this. They were they're in a parking garage. They got a Mexican standoff, and I'm like, who cares? How many of the characters on screen are going to die? I'm going to take bets with my wife. What do you think? 2? I'm thinking just the 1. I mean, like, it would be clean if they killed Sharon right now. No? Okay.
Oh yeah, no. the Sharon reveal. That better come back to play off. I didn't really care about the Sharon reveal. We'll get to that though in a minute. I liked the episode overall. My biggest complaint was, it's like they threw pacing out the window after 4. Because we literally have 5 where they're like, we're going to montage, we're going to have a boat scene, we're going to hang out, we're going to pretend that there's no urgency. Oh my God, the box. And then like, I feel like I missed something because immediately he's like, I'm breaking the window and I'm here to save the... Where did the info come from? When did this happen? They seem to have done a big staging. Like...
At the end of the last episode or something, at some point, they were like, yeah, they're in New York. Like, something's going down in this. There was like a blip on like some radar, the GRC, like,
it was like just the Flag Smasher
app.
Yeah.
Like,
the Flag Smasher app.
Well, that's what they have.
They had an app.
They're on WhatsApp. They're on WhatsApp.
That's how they caught them at the end.
That reveal at the end, because they're like, let's check the app. And I'm like, so who screwed them with the app? Like, who hacked the app? Oh, okay. Bucky. Fine.
Cool.
For me, it was obvious that they were like, okay, we need like at least 2 episodes where people just walk around and talk so we can put all the CG into one episode and make it like the last 30 minutes of every MCU movie. And that's what this was. It was the last 30 minutes of an MCU movie, and it was just like action, and the action was so grounded. Not grounded in terms of like it was unrealistic, but like it was grounded in terms of we just watched people who can't shoot lasers out of their eyes beat bad guys who also can't shoot lasers out of their eyes. Like, we watched, the coolest moment for me was when Cap flew through the helicopter and grabbed a guy. We literally rewound, we went back, we're like, whoa! Like,
I didn't even realize at first he did that. He's like, we got to do this together. And I see the guy go out. I didn't realize he grabbed him at first, so he's holding him. I'm like, that's where the pilot... Oh, that was so cool. Like,
it was a great moment.
All of whoever's in charge of like directing Cap's like fight choreography with the wings and everything is expert. Like, even in the first episode when he's still Falcon and he's just flying around and doing a bunch of cool stuff, when he uses the wings to like fight, or the one time where he like stuck them into the ground to like push back at Carly or something. Awesome. Like, very well done fight
he
scene.
created that little
wings.
He created that little that little phalanx move where he covered himself and then used the shield to finish the top part.
To like finish it.
Genius.
So cool.
Yep.
Awesome stuff.
Okay, can we acknowledge that the shield bounced? What was it? What did it bounce off that? Because I remember when it bounced it was like it was catching the car or something. The helicopter.
Oh, okay.
What you were talking about when he put the shield to finish off the little dome?
He like sealed it up with the shield. Yeah.
Yeah, but what bounced off it? Because I did laugh at that.
I don't know. I didn't see.
I think it was the helicopter was falling, but I don't think
it was just debris.
Them. Yeah, it would like hit like nearby or something.
He was just like, bing! I'm like, I don't think the shield would do that. Physics, everyone. Let me get the charts.
Right, please, thank you. Because if there's one thing I need from my superhero TV shows, it's realism.
You want to talk about physics? If Falcon grounded himself with his wings and then took a super punch to a shield, his entire arm would be destroyed. Again, who cares?
Other than my nitpick that I felt like we just kind of got into this and it moved quickly, I agree. It felt like the ending of an MCU movie. I did enjoy it. I felt I liked the suit, but I don't know how we went from like slender Falcon for flying to bulked up. I gotta be like Steve Rogers. Like,
he's got a super suit now.
Yeah, I mean it's because it's coursing with Wakandan technology because there's all kinds of crazy stuff in there.
Yeah,
I will say, if I have to give it one kind of ding, because like it is 100% accurate. That suit looks like they pulled it right out of the comics, and
Yes.
you know what? Like maybe it's a little too bright.
Take a few
I don't know.
liberties. Yeah,
Like-
I think the there's two things about the suit that don't work for me, and I love that it's accurate.
Yeah.
And I'm down for the statement that it makes that
Right.
like we can have comic book accurate suits and it's
Yeah.
not like a thing. I think the white is too bright. It's a little distracting.
It should be
And-
eggshell, not pure.
Right. And the I prefer, because in the comics this is one like not major change, but in the comics you don't ever really see his eyes through the visor,
Right.
but
Yeah.
you see them all the time in the show, with the exception of a few shots.
He looks like he's wearing ski goggles still, which I always
Yeah.
I didn't really like on the Falcon suit, where it's like he's just wearing ski
Same.
goggles. Like
It looks a little hokey, especially when he's delivering like a big speech about stuff and he's walking around with like, I just wish they had made it like a separate headpiece that he could remove when it's time for Anthony Mackie to like deliver like a grandstanding words and stuff.
But that's the thing, is that like Anthony Mackie's one of those actors who's just like, I'm thrilled to be here. I love this character. I love this universe. I will come to everything. Like, I'll be an Ant-Man. You know, I'm gonna be in it all. And it's like, so you want me to wear the full head sock that like Gambit pioneered with goggles? I'll do it. Like, I'll do it. And you know what? If you guys think that looks stupid, I'm assuming that there's going to be some costume changes, because like there always is between projects. So
it also reminded me of Michael Keaton. Like because yes, he was turning, but he wasn't as bad as Michael Keaton.
stiff.
But there
Yeah.
was definitely some stiffness to the.
It was stiff.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? New suit. You got to break it in.
Sure. Yeah. You know, that like you said, it's gonna, I'm sure it'll go through some minor changes, like the Daredevil suit.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
From the end of season 1 to season 2. It's the same suit technically, but there
Yeah.
are some minor changes to it.
Things that your
happen.
brain notices that you don't necessarily consciously are aware of.
Yeah.
That are, you're
Exactly.
Like, oh, like that's better. I like
He's
that.
got
Yeah.
an extra pouch.
Right, exactly. I love that they were like, yeah, no. And part of the other thing is what you said, Dylan, which was like that it's a statement. And it's not just the statement of like, we're doing this like metatextually, but it's also the statement of like, yeah, you know what? Like, what's so bad about red, white, and blue? You know, like, it's that kind of like,
Yeah.
you know what? Yeah, America's done some effed up stuff. And we're also pretty great. Like, not to say like we're pretty great, but also, you know, like, hey, I'm not going to apologize for being American. Meh.
Yeah. It's
Here it is on full
ideal.
display.
It's like, you know, if that's kind of the whole thing about, that's the whole theme and the message this show leaves you with is like, yes, the Captain America name has been bloodied in secrecy, and it's something that America has shoved down, but that's not what America should be.
Right.
So I'm gonna take it and be Captain America, and like Cap's done that all the time in the comics, where like he's, you know, one day he'll decide he doesn't want to be Captain America anymore, he'll go be Nomad.
Yep.
But then the other day he'll be like, no, America's being weird, but also I'm what America should be, so I'm gonna stay Captain America.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, do you have any other thoughts you want to add to the whole discussion of the episode, Dylan, before I bring up two other things I want to talk about?
I think the just as a whole, this show, this is the thing I was gonna say earlier that I forgot about. It's a show about character and character development. It's not really about plot, which is kind of why you know, the villain doesn't really matter. The plot movements don't matter. Like, the show as a whole doesn't technically matter, but like you can skip it. But the reason you can skip it is because it's about character, and it's showing the motivations and where these characters are, and it's really good at doing that.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, it's skippable, sure, but that doesn't mean it's bad or
Right.
it's you know, wrong or anything.
I mean, based on WandaVision and this, both of them are skippable, but they're both they both take advantage of the fact that they're super long and can develop characters. A lot of people like to argue, like, well, nothing really happened in WandaVision. She got some kids and Vision was revived. And I'm like, yes, but we learned so much about Wanda in those 9 episodes.
They're
And
tie-ins.
yeah, and Falcon and Winter Soldier, well, Captain America and Winter Soldier, was also kind of a similar thing where it's like we went into this going, Falcon and Winter Soldier, they're cool. I like Winter Soldier. I like Falcon. I like them in the comics, but in the MCU, they haven't done that much other than be around and be sidekicks. So this was a way for them to go beyond that. Just like Wanda was able to go beyond just being that girl with the weird accent in Age of Ultron that magically went away as things went on.
They explained that. Kevin Feige was like, it's on purpose.
Yeah, sure, Kev, thanks. She was being trained by a spy to get rid of her accent. You know, like... Natasha should not have an American accent either, but, you know, she learned how to get rid of it, and she taught Wanda how to get rid of it.
Yeah. And that's what I actually think I'm really enjoying about these shows. While this, and I mentioned it before the episode, but this is the worst rated episode on Metacritic. While everyone has their nitpicks and their problems, it was too rushed, or I didn't like the grandstanding, or, you know, things like that. At the end of the day, I walked away going, and now I know who Sam and Bucky really are in the MCU. It's not my comic book knowledge. It's the MCU versions. Yeah. I know who Wanda and Vision are in the MCU now.
Right.
They're not just background Avengers.
I will say this show did a Herculean job of getting me to give any kind of crap about Bucky, and it took, I think, 3 movies for me to care. You know, they were like, because what was it? Winter Soldier, they're like Bucky. And I'm like, and then Civil War, they're like Bucky though. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't care. Like, stop it.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Like, Steve's being super irrational for this dead guy. I don't care. And then, you know, then he disappears, and Steve's like, no, my whole motivation for doing anything for the last 10 years is dead. And it's like, okay, I don't care about that. Now you can move on, Steve. Good. Finally, everyone's dead. And then it's like, this show gives me Sebastian Stan's, like, portrayal of Bucky and gives him a minute to breathe and express himself as a character as opposed to being, like, a legitimate plot device. And I'm like, oh, I do like Bucky.
Yeah. I mean, I liked Bucky early on at the beginning, but I'm also a Winter Soldier fan. Like, I mean, it'd be like if like the next Batman movie, they're like, Red Hood's in it for a 5-minute cameo. I'd be like, greatest Red Hood ever!
Yeah, literally, yeah. That's right. That's right. It's true, and it's like we take our biases with us to these things. But at the same time, I'm thrilled that the show did that because I already liked Falcon. You know, like this show didn't need me to warm up to Anthony Mackie's portrayal of Falcon / Captain America, but I did need some effort to give any kind of, like, anything for Bucky. And now I'm like, I kind of hope Bucky shows up in the next one. Like, I kind of want to see these guys work together now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Bucky went from being a character in the first Avenger, which, like, nobody really remembers, and then a plot device for 2.5 movies, and like, they never really gave him a second to sit down and, like, talk and be a character because he was on the run the whole time. Yeah. So now everyone was trying to save him.
As much as I love Bucky and the Winter Soldier, I hate to admit it, he was just a damsel in distress for the last 2 movies.
He was being used to further the plot and to give motivation for Steve, who, like, really didn't have any reason to do anything at that point in the MCU, which is, like, in Winter Soldier, like, you see that, like, before Bucky shows up, Steve is very aimless. He's just like, I don't know why I'm here, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just a soldier, and I work for an organization that I hate, but I don't want to come to terms with that.
So the other thing I wanted to bring up is the conclusion of the Flag Smasher plot. And I also want to talk John Walker before we end today's episode, but I wanted to, the Flag Smasher plot, it didn't pay off. But the internet was like, oh, justice for Carly, justice for the actress, let her have another role, bring her back to life. And I'm just like, she didn't do anything. She did nothing but go around going, we want it to be like the way it was before the blip. The government isn't handling this properly, so we're going to fix it with super soldiers. And Falcon's like, I see where you're coming from. Let me give you a speech. And she just ran around trying to blow everyone up. Like, nothing came out of it, really. Like,
she's one of those classic, we want to make the audience think they're redeemable, but we all know they're not going to be at the end characters. And I don't know what the TV tropes term for that is, but they're literally like, there is no point in this show at any time where I thought that Carly might not be the bad guy of the show, or might turn over a new leaf, or betray her organization, or become something else. There was legitimately no period where that happened, and I don't think that we were meant to think that, although they definitely used all the trappings to kind of, like, manipulate the audience into trying to think that, or at least pay lip service to that idea.
I think the point of Carly being redeemable was not to to make Carly, like, to give credit to the writers. I don't know if this was their intention. I think it was. I don't think they were trying to make us think that she was redeemable. I think she was just there to be coaxed by Sam into maybe being redeemable, to prove to the audience that Sam is Captain America
Exactly.
now.
Yeah. Like, there's no point where it would have been lazier and it would have been more, like, one-dimensional if Carly was like, like, I'm going to be the next Thanos. You know, like, you know, if she had said Thanos was right, you know, if she had done things more villainously.
Leaned more into it, is what you're saying?
Leaned totally, like, I have all these powers and I have no responsibility. Like, there's no moment like that. It's just her being like, I'm right. And it's like, okay, like, I don't know. It just there's no point where I was like, oh, gee whiz, I really feel bad for this poor girl. But, you know, did I like Erin Kellyman's portrayal? I guess. I don't think she even did anything. I mean, I know she's got the fan base. I don't think she really did anything to give me I liked her portrayal. It was like, we had 3 episodes where they were trying to give her backstory and make us care, and the 3 episodes you just made her a villain, and at no point was I sitting around being like, wow, her acting was... Like, the guy who did John Walker, that was incredible when he raised the shield, his face, his facial expression, seeing him being defeated. Wyatt Russell, his acting was great, but she didn't do anything other than argue that she's right. That was her thing.
I liked her. If we're just talking about, like, her acting, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I really liked. I think the peak of her, like, rapport was the speech that the argument she had with Sam when Sam was trying to talk her down before
the first
John
time.
Like, stormed in the room. The first time, and I think that was solid stuff. Like, I think everyone in this show, like, does a good job in terms of acting.
Yeah, I don't see any.
Let me clarify. I'm not acting. I was gonna say, let me clarify. While her acting didn't make me try to side with her. I don't feel that anyone did a bad job where I'm like, oh, that guy. Everyone did a great job with what they were given. Let me word it like that. She may be a good actor, but I've only ever seen her in Star Wars and in this, and what she was given did not make me be like, give her a Solo series. I gotta see her perform.
Did I miss something also? Like, because she's also in Solo: A Star Wars Story, which is like kind of underrated. I don't know. It depends. So, like, it depends on the day I'm watching it. But, but she's in that movie, and I was like, oh right, she is in that movie. But people are referring to her character from Solo and in this, and they're like, God, what a great character in both those. And I'm like, she was in that.
Yeah, I've seen that argument too, and she was very same problem with this. She was just not given a lot to work with. I think she had a total of like 15 minutes in that movie. Like, the movie was about Solo, Chewbacca, and everyone there. She wasn't in that crew.
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson.
He did a good job. But you know who really did a good job in Solo, by the way? Was it Paul Bettany?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And added after the fact, I think there was another villain in his spot. And during reshoots, they brought him in.
Out. That movie was a mess during production.
But he's great. And I was like, oh, man, you're great. Anyway, moving on. Captain America. But who cares? Like, no complaints. I'm glad she's gone, because the last thing I wanted was for this, like, character who is unsympathetic and not terribly interesting, but, like, the motivations matter to her, right? Like, she is in no way inconsistent as a character and in her motivations and in her execution of her, like, plan. And so that's great, because that's consistently good, because it allows for the villains to be in some measure 3-dimensional. And it also allows us to root for our hero and not feel icky if and when they win.
Yeah.
So yay. But I'm also like, you've stretched out the Flag Smashers plot to the limit. There's no more places for this to go. Like, don't do this again.
Unless we get the actual Flag Smasher, the actual guy.
It's the last thing I want to see.
You get the actual villain. For those who don't know, the Flag Smashers is not an organization. It's a guy.
It's a guy who looks hilarious. I found, by the way, I was in the dollar bins at a comic book store a week ago. I found his first appearance for 50 cents. I'm like, oh,
nice.
This might be worth something. It's not, but like, hey, first appearance of Flag Smasher.
I will say this episode is the first time that their the Flag Smashers' motivations or exactly like why they were trying to do what they were. It clicked for me in this episode. I don't know why. I think it was just because like we saw the GRC people when they were talking to Sam more specifically, and they specifically said like there were no borders, and there are refugees from lots of different places over the world, and the vote we are doing. They explained in the last episode that the reason that the Flag Smashers are trying to take us down is because we are trying to send people back to the countries that they are fleeing from. And that only happened post-blip because I guess people stopped caring about borders.
Yep.
And I agree, but that message, that like if that was explained in the very first episode, while I think a lot of my opinions of the Flag Smashers and their lack of motivations would have stayed.
Yeah.
I think at least you guys could have countered with, no, Benny, they've said what is going on.
Because they did in the first episode. They were like, Second Falcon or whatever was like, yeah, they want to get rid of the borders or go back to the way things were during the blip.
What was that?
But that's all we ever heard. They want to go back to the way things were. What does that mean? Like, they want new Coke, not old Coke? During the blip, old Coke came back?
Right.
What does go back to the way things were mean?
Yeah.
Right.
We only got to see it for like a few minutes, and it's basically just people still being sad. Like, and garbage is apparently left out a lot more than it used to be.
We definitely needed, like I said when Isaiah Bradley was first introduced, we needed some kind of cold open, like a flashback to a time that it gives more context for this thing that is integral to the plot of the show.
Yeah, 3 years ago, and show you like a kind of, that would have actually been really cool to show you like two stand-ins for Israel and Palestine or something, and show you like how it worked out, and people being like, I used to think this, or like people, like families being created as a result of like there being fewer people and stuff, something like that. But except I think maybe they were thinking ahead and they were like, if we do that though, it kind of makes our heroes complicated. And we really need you to like be on board for what they're doing.
That's your whole point.
I know, but like that point is only something for the message boards. That's not something for the viewing audience. I'm trying to get you to buy the action figure, not change the world for real.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I was about to say, like, give Disney credit where credit is due, but it's still Disney. It's a huge corporation. But, like, they went, like, a mile further than I feel like usually they would have gone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in this show and in this episode specifically. So kudos, I guess, you mega corporation.
Way to acknowledge inequality after you laid off 45% of the people who work at your parks.
I was gonna say, like, let's just look at what Disney's done for the last year to its actors, actresses, and
cast members and everything.
All right, so moving on, because this is gonna be a long episode. This is like when we do a Snyder cut.
It's a finale.
Oh yeah, I know. John Walker. What? I liked him. It was great. I loved him being fired. I loved everything going on, and then he just shows up this episode, and everyone's like, come on, John!
Yeah, I love it. It's great. Not only did our protagonist go, well, he's a super soldier, and he's like, not all that bright. So it's like, dude, we need you to punch the other super. We got like 3 super soldiers to our 1. We could use you because you still think you're doing the right thing. So like, come on, punch this guy.
Yeah. I mean, I liked his turn. I loved the U.S. agent reveal at the ending, which also sets up for Captain America 4, which I'm so excited because we'll talk about Captain America 4 in the video, but that just gets me excited that we're going to have U.S. agent, not faux Captain America. We're getting U.S. agent.
His whole little, like, he basically, like did a little dance.
I know!
When Contessa left, it was like, U.S. agent! It was like, yeah, you go.
That his, like, I'm back. I'm like, yeah, like, that's really cool. Like, that was, we're not supposed to like him, right? I think that's the show is like,
but
you're not supposed to like him.
Performance.
Right, but that's the thing is that I get him. It's not that I like want to be friends with John Walker. I could have a beer with John Walker. I really agree with him. But like,
absolutely not.
I feel like, but I get it. Like I buy him, and that was like the moment for me where I'm like, oh my god, this guy's like a human being. Like, all right, you're doing it.
He's an interesting and 3-dimensional, I'll say, villain in a sea of like nothing characters in the show and in the larger MCU.
I am a good person because I'm a good person. End of story. Like U.S. agents, like, I think I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Right, and that's
Like,
the thing I
thinks
love
he's
about it,
good.
because in a world of superheroes and people that are running around as super soldiers and there's just captains in the army and things like that, I like the fact that there's just this guy who's like, I'm trying. I really am trying, but I have a temper. A little temper.
And I love like when the facade is gone, which like we see through the course of the show, you see like he puts on this front that he knows that like he doesn't deserve any of the medals of honor that he got, and it's all like nonsense. But then the mask gets lifted and he's like, I'm Captain America.
Right.
Like I deserve this. And it's like, whoa. And that's interesting. That's complex. And
Agreed. And then making him
that's
U.S.
why we
agent.
like him.
I loved him pointing out. He was like, "It's just the same suit, but it's black." I mean, like, you want me to be excited, but like, it's. I mean, but objectively, it is cooler looking. I will say that.
Yeah,
I like it a lot. I did. Last thing I want to talk about: the Sharon Carter turn / reveal. I don't feel it's earned. I don't feel it's like the character. It's a 180 on the character, and I'm hoping we just get more to it later. But if moving forward, the turn is. They didn't give me a pardon. Oh shucks! Like,
Yep. You left
because like
me.
I think
me.
even Sam was like, did you call someone? Did you go? Did you try?
Right.
It's like, no, I've been hanging out at Madripoor.
Yeah. No, I immediately fled to Madripoor and became a black market salesman. That was my first thing to do, rather than go to jail in America and wait for Captain America to come get me.
Because that's all he would have done. That's all you would have had to wait for.
Yep.
I have a theory. Something that happened in the comics after spoilers, I guess, for like a 10-year-old comic at this point. Sharon Carter kills Captain America because she was brainwashed by Dr. Faustus.
Oh.
We've seen Dr. Faustus sort of in the MCU before, but not really.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I was trying to think like, is this out of character for Sharon Carter? And I think it is. But not if she's brainwashed.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm
That could
hoping
be
there's a
interesting.
payoff. I hope we get more reveals on the Power Broker. Now, do you want the Power Broker to go to the movies or be like a reoccurring villain in the Disney Plus shows?
I'm hoping we don't see any more Power Broker. I couldn't care less. There's nothing about that.
I think it'll be my like current thoughts on it are she's going to be a minor character in whatever sequel this like will come out of this, whether that be Cap 4 or like a season 2 of this show or something.
There is no season 2.
I don't think she's gonna be the whole thing.
And now we know why there is no season 2. They were straight up limited series. Well, it's because the day that this dropped, they were like, Cap 4!
Cap 4.
Yeah. You know, she would have actually, if it had still been alive, she would have been a fun subplot villain for the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She would have. Yeah.
Right? That show's gone in an alternate universe at this
Thank
point,
God.
though. So.
That show.
Hey,
that show.
I love that show.
I don't think
Right
it's
off the
removed.
rails.
Everyone's like, it's removed because the Darkhold looks different. It's the Darkhold. It can look different.
Oh, you mean the demon book from hell that can do anything?
Yeah.
That's
No,
funny.
I think it's removed because the Darkhold looks different, and also because they, with every MCU installment, they keep writing it off. But like, if you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. all the way to the end, you can easily excuse that as being an alternate timeline,
Oh yeah.
especially post Infinity War.
Right.
I mean, I know they mess with a whole bunch of stuff, and like characters like Ghost Rider are apparently going to be different when they finally come back. Now it's like, well, I liked his acting. That guy was great.
Listen, no, I loved Ghost Rider too. I thought it was. I couldn't have been more thrilled watching that show out of habit when suddenly effing Ghost Rider shows.
Rider shows.
And I'm like, oh, I'm in. I'm like that. I'm back in. But I would like to see Ghost Rider in a Ghost Rider thing, as opposed to relegated to a third-tier character status on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show.
Oh, he did a great job, though. I thought it was great.
He was robbed. He didn't get. He was going to have a Hulu show, I think, and he canceled that.
Well, if you actually saw his thing, he said it was even worse than that. Not only did they tell him about the Hulu show, but they didn't even tell him how much limbo it was in, or that it was being canceled, so he couldn't take other work.
Oh, yikes.
So for like a year, he was waiting for this show to kick off and holding off all other jobs. And
Well, at least
then they
he-
just canned it.
At least he got to be in the third most disappointing Terminator sequel.
All right, do we have anything else to add about this before we move on to our topic about Captain America 4, which will be in another video right here at Absolutely Marvel in DC?
It's a good show.
I think so. Yeah, good stuff. Watch it. if you haven't for some reason,
Yeah.
you've made it to the end of this episode.
Please write more. That's my note.
So, all right, guys. Thank you so much for watching Absolutely Marvel and DC. My name is Benny. That is Sal, and that is Dylan. And if you want to support this channel, you want to support this show, either subscribe right here where we're filming it live, twitch.tv/comicstorian, where we're going to try to make this like a Monday filming thing. We'll see how well that works out. Or just stick around here on the YouTube channel and watch the videos. The more you watch, the more it helps us. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time right here.